Okay, so Assalamualaikum and a very good evening, everyone. I'm Nurul Imam Binti Manso, your MC for today's online forum, COVID-19, the war is not over. I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to everyone who is watching us live. We're here with us today. I would like to inform we have Emmanuel Myres, the founder of AYAN. So for many of us are very inspired with what he does. His involvement with advocacy and youth activities has inspired so many of us. And of course, we would like to hear a word or two from Myres. So Myres, I would now pass the floor to you for the opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Iman. This is the first of many projects of AYAN Malaysia. And you know, out of all the countries, I have really seen AYAN Indonesia and AYAN Malaysia grow. So consider this history. I am very proud to say that these people right here, these people that established AYAN Malaysia, this is history. This is the first of many projects of AYAN Malaysia. And to the Malaysian youth out there, whether you've heard us or not, this is a piece of history. These are the first leaders of AYAN Malaysia. I am very proud to every single one of these Malaysian youth who dedicated themselves to volunteer and to serve for our ASEAN advocacy. I would like to thank every single one of you. This message is based off my gratitude for AN Malaysia. You have stepped up despite being in this pandemic. You said yes to the challenge of empowering the ASEAN youth as we are wanting, as we are aiming to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals and the ASEAN Youth Plan and youth empowerment and one identity, the one ASEAN identity that we want to achieve. I hope you will learn a lot from this webinar. And yes, again, consider this history as we vision AYAN Malaysia and all the AYAN chapters to be big and to be the #1 network for the ASEAN youth. Thank you so much. And back to you, Iman.
All right, thank you so much, Myres, for the short but sweet speech. Okay, so now I'd like to introduce to our speakers today. We have 4 panelists. So first of all, we have Nur Salama Azman, who is a final year law student from UiTM Shah Alam. Second, we have Umaira Surfina, who is also a final year law student from UiTM Shah Alam. Thirdly, we have Devi Durgashini, a third year nuclear engineering student from UTM Skudai. And lastly, we have Liao Chia Jing, a first year electrical and electronic engineering student from Polytechnic Ibrahim Sultan. And of course, our moderator for today will be our very own AYAN Malaysia Country Director Amir Haikal. So ladies and gentlemen, today our panelists, they will delve into the topic with regards to the current status of COVID-19 in our country. The role, the things that they will be talking about are basically, will be revolving around the role that can be taken by youth in this difficult phase, the impacts if movement control order MCO were to be once again enforced, as announced today earlier. Also the benefits and drawbacks of open and distance learning ODL during MCO. Also before that, sebelum forum ini bermula, saya ingin mengetengahkan bahawa forum ini akan dijalankan dalam 2 bahasa, meaning to say that this forum will be conducted bilingually. We would like to embrace diversity and also to celebrate both language, bahasa Malaysia and also bahasa Inggeris. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, I will now pass the floor to our moderator, Amir Haikal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Iman, for that warm opening. So, hello everyone, a very good evening. This is our very first online forum. So we have distinguished panelists with us today. We'll talk about a very important issue. COVID-19, the war is not over. This is a very critical issue, important one to be discussed today. So, as mentioned by Iman just now, this forum is a unique one. will conduct this forum both in English and Malay to promote diversity, to celebrate both languages, English and Malay. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us begin. Now, we all know that COVID-19 is a very serious issue. It's a worldwide issue. Everyone has been battling with this pandemic. So this forum will serve as a platform for us to discuss this matter and delve into issues circulating this matter. So the panelists will provide their perspectives as well as opinions in this regard. All right. So let us begin. Miss Devi, the first question is for you. Now, we know that COVID-19 is a very tough, unseen enemy. And that's why I believe we need to be tougher in fighting this virus. So, from your observation and your opinion, how is our country, Malaysia, doing right now in battling this pandemic?
All right. Thank you, Ami. Thank you, Iman, and thank you, Miris, for this wonderful opportunity. So before I begin, I would like to big thank you to all frontliners, if there are any watching right now, because what you guys are doing is a great job, and we can't thank you enough for that. So when it comes to Malaysia and dealing with pandemic and especially COVID-19, I would say they are doing a great job. I mean, like the first case was in January 2020. It started with one foreigner from Singapore, and who would have thought it would create such a big wave? And how Malaysia dealt with that was really amazing and astonishing. I mean, they declared an immediate lockdown, which really helped to tone down the number of cases to zero. Not to forget, Dr. Nur Hisham really has a plan and strategy to control and to sustain our graph of COVID. Not only that, even Malaysians themselves are giving such a huge amount of support in following the SOPs and obeying the law. I mean, it's not easy to just set the law and if no one follows it. So it's a two-way thing. You know, COVID really relates to a Malay peribahasa saying, uh, ibarat telur sesakap, pecah sebiji, pecah semua. Because it's like when one person contracted the virus, it is very easy to spread to everyone. No matter how clean or hygiene we are still at high risk of contracting the virus. So in that case, Malaysians and the government are doing a great job in handling. Even right now, we are going to have another lockdown, I think in 14th of October. So I really hope that it will help us to turn down the number of cases, because unfortunately, we had a number of escalated cases from the last election. So, it is not an impossible thing because we did it once, so we can definitely do it again. Thank you, Amin.
Thank you so much, Devi. I believe we can fight this virus and we can help to assist the government and authorities in making sure that this pandemic will end soon. All right, so let's move to Saudari Salama, Miss Salama. Kita sedia,
Hi.
yes, hi Saudari Salama. Kita sedia maklum bahawa kerajaan kita sedang melakukan yang terbaik untuk mengatasi dan juga mengawal penularan COVID-19 ini. Pelbagai SOP dan juga undang-undang diwujudkan untuk menyelesaikan isu ini. Dan kita tahu bahawa jika seseorang itu melanggar undang-undang ataupun SOP, dan seseorang itu akan dikenakan denda RM1,000. Ya. Jadi pada pendapat Cik Salama, adakah denda tersebut ataupun SOP tersebut, undang-undang tersebut merupakan suatu yang efektif untuk kita memastikan masyarakat kita di negara ini mematuhi segala SOP?
Alright, terima kasih Encik Amir. Jadi melalui soalan yang dinyatakan sebentar tadi ya, larangan tidak memakai penutup muka yang bermula pada 1 Ogos 2020 sebenarnya merupakan undang-undang di bawah perkara 10 Peraturan-Peraturan Pengawalan Penyakit Berjangkit. Jadi mengapa peraturan ini dikuatkuasakan? Berdasarkan kajian yang dibuat daripada Malaysian sendiri, Cik Arina Azlan, Rezal Hamzah dan 3 yang lain, mengenai public knowledge, attitudes and practices towards COVID-19, a cross-sectional study in Malaysia, saying that the wearing of face masks in public places before MCO was less common compared to other precautions, which is 51.2%. Jadi sebenarnya ya, kerajaan telah mengambil langkah yang betul dalam memastikan rakyat patuh pada SOP yang ditetapkan. Jadi tujuan penguatkuasaan undang-undang yang ditulis ini sebenarnya adalah untuk tidak lain tidak bukan menurunkan jangkitan kes COVID-19 dalam kalangan rakyat. Jadi, terdapat juga SOP yang diwartakan selain memakai penutup muka, yakni penjarakan fizikal sekurang-kurangnya 1 meter, pemakaian gelang pink atau putih bagi individu yang perlu dikuarantin, dan penggunaan hand sanitizer serta mengambil kira suhu badan bagi pengunjung di tempat-tempat awam, which is our new norms. Jadi, the point is keberkesanannya. How effective is the law enforced by our government? Memetik insiden yang hangat di Twitter ya Saudara Amir pada Ogos lalu yang mana seorang remaja dikenakan RM1,000 sebab menurunkan pelitup muka yang dipakai di sebuah stesen komuter dan tindakan polis yang terus menyaman without giving any warning or chance for him to explain himself telah diselar oleh warganet. They replied that the politicians who does not practice physical distancing and not wearing masks in public, mereka terlepas dari saman, katanya. And they also include the pictures of some politicians, whom of course we all know if we regularly scroll over social media. Hence, actually, how can this happen? Where's the law in it, right? As we all know that law is supposed to be equal for everyone, including the politicians. Hence, my point is whether the law has been enforced are equally treated inside our society regardless of their position. Di sini kita kemukakan isu double standard situation which are actually being hotly debated in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, kita perlu melihat balik the law governing this issue. Akta 342, maksimum compound bagi kesalahan ialah RM1,000. Jadi, kadar itu tidak boleh melebihi dari had itu bagi setiap kesalahan yang dilakukan. Sekiranya kita nak mohon untuk mitigation, which is pengurangan pada proses perbicaraan, ini merupakan daripada mahkamah itu sendiri. Jadi merujuk pada persoalan yang diberikan oleh Encik Amir tadi, pendekatan yang cukup keras sebenarnya adalah satu perkara yang subjektif. Bagi rakyat yang kurang berkemampuan, RM1,000 dilihat sebagai satu amount yang banyak. Malahan mungkin melebihi gaji yang diperoleh segelintir masyarakat masa kini meskipun gaji yang ditetapkan oleh kerajaan ialah RM1,200. Masih ada yang mendapat RM900 ke bawah ya Encik Amir. Tapi bagi mereka yang berkemampuan pula, RM1,000 dilihat mungkin sebagai satu amount yang kecil. Jadi meskipun disaman mengikut undang-undang sedia ada, mereka dapat melunaskan bayaran dengan mudah disebabkan ada sumber keuangan yang cukup. Jadi, Cik Amir, cadangan penambahbaikan saya dalam hal ini adalah bagi memastikan undang-undang ini efektif ataupun tidak, kerajaan perlu meneliti kembali undang-undang sedia ada dan mengenakan compound sesuai dengan kadar pendapatan seseorang itu. Contohnya di Finland, saman melebihi had laju dikaitkan dengan kadar pendapatan orang tu. Jadi sekiranya gaji dia besar, kadar saman yang dibayar juga akan mengikut purata gaji dia sehari. Pendekatan ini sebenarnya patut dikaji dan diguna pakai dalam menerapkan sistem undang-undang yang lebih berkesan ya. Mesej yang disampaikan oleh kerajaan kepada rakyat juga perlulah jelas dan dikaji secara menyeluruh terlebih dahulu. Contoh kan, kita tahu before MCO, kita kena ambil borang sebelum keluar dari daerah. Tiba-tiba tomorrow, the regulations have been repealed. IPT juga, kita menunda kemasukan pelajar universiti dekat dengan tempoh hari pendaftaran itu sendiri. And last but not least, home quarantine. Pendekatan ini sebenarnya perlu diambil berat oleh semua, termasuk ahli politik sendiri dengan menunjukkan teladan yang baik. Lepas keluar dari tempat high risk, red zone, quarantine yourself for 14 days demi kesejahteraan umum. Hence, I conclude, ya Amir, in English that the law can actually be more effective if everyone plays their role. Each of us needs to quarantine ourselves if we are engaged with person infected with COVID-19 or being exposed to a high-risk zones. Politicians itself need to show good examples to the public and the enforcement of the law itself should be monitored. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saudari Salama. Satu penjelasan yang cukup kemas, satu penjelasan yang cukup bermakna dan bermanfaat untuk kita semua. Yes, I agree with you. We have to comply with the law. We have to obey the law so that we can together contain this situation and fix this pandemic? All right, Mr. Chia Jing, this question is for you. Now, we know that everyone is trying their best, to comply with the SOP and also the measures taken by the government in the hope that we can flatten the curve, right? But from your observation, what are the measures that people sometimes, overlooked or neglected?
Yeah, thank you, Amels. Yeah, there are some of the measures that a lot of people overlook, which is wear a mask when going outside. If we see the people around us, when the number of cases start to decrease, there are a lot of people did not wear their mask when they were at the outside. This is because that did not want that the coronavirus is just around of them, and this will bring to an increase in cases of COVID-19. Next, the second measure that some of the people overlook, which is the passengers who sit on the public transport must wear their mask throughout the journey. Some of the people overlook this because it's quite uncomfortable for them who going to a far place. For an example, me, during my midterm sem break, I went from my college to my hometown. It was a long distance and it took me 7 hours to sit on the bus. I felt very uncomfortable when wearing the mask for 7 hours and sometimes may feel difficult to breathe. I feel that I want to take off the mask, but I can't. So I understand the reason why the people overlook this measure. Besides that, the third measure that some of the people overlook, which is the people who doing the business, must disinfect their premise at least 3 times a day. Some of the people overlook this because the cost to sanitize the premise is too high for them. For example, if they find a disinfection company to disinfect their 1,000 square feet premise, it costs nearly 400 ringgit per time. That's a high cost for the owner. In addition, they have to buy hand sanitizer for customers who have to use before enter their premise. As we know, during this pandemic, the owner's sales volume get affected badly, and the worst is that some of the business can't even support for their daily operating expenses. The owner will think that to reduce the frequency to sanitize the premise in a day, and this will bring to a decrease in cost of disinfectant. Lastly, the measure that some of the people overlook, which is the table in the restaurant must take a distance at least 2 meters, and the amount of people who sit must not more than 4 people. For example, if there are got 5 people who going out to eat in the restaurant together, if they follow the measure, the 4 of them will sit together and the another one should sit alone. Many of people will think that it's just more than the limit by the 1 people only. It doesn't matter and it would bring a big effect in increase the cases of COVID-19. Over the time, they will overlook this measure already. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chia Jing. Yes, I agree with you. We should not neglect any of the measures if we want this to end soon. We have to comply 100% with the SOPs. Baik, kita pergi kepada Saudari Umaira. Baik, Saudari Umaira, saya ingin bertanya, peranan belia dalam situasi ini. Apakah yang belia kita boleh lakukan dalam kapasiti mereka untuk kita mendekani isu semasa ini?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Terima kasih kepada Tuan Moderator, Encik Muhammad Amir Haikal, iaitu saya punya rakan seperjuangan bersama-sama di UiTM. Jadi, sebelum saya menjawab soalan Encik Amir, saya akan menerangkan dahulu kadar bilangan belia yang ada di Malaysia. Jadi, kadar bilangan yang ada di Malaysia menurut artikel COVID-19 di Sinar Harian, dalam Jabatan Perangkaan Malaysia, warga belia di Malaysia berjumlah 9.2 juta yang merangkumi 27.8% daripada 32.6 juta penduduk Malaysia secara keseluruhan. So it took about approximately 30% of our population in Malaysia. Jadi 30% daripada 100 tu jumlah yang agak besar pada saya. Dalam menjawab soalan ini, kita dapat akui sebenarnya golongan belia adalah golongan yang paling terkesan dengan tamparan COVID-19 ini. Saya berkata begitu kerana golongan belia antara golongan yang paling sibuk kalau kita nak compare dengan golongan-golongan yang lain. Jadi kenapa saya cakap begitu? Saya berpendapat begitu kerana golongan belia berada pada umur yang cukup ideal, bukan sahaja mereka sibuk dengan bekerja, akan tetapi mereka juga sibuk dengan komitmen-komitmen yang lain seperti mereka ada outdoor activities di luar, hobi mereka juga some of it ada yang outdoor, banyak benda yang outdoor lah. Jadi apabila PKP ini dilaksanakan, program-program outdoor ini dia digelar sebagai halangan lah, dan juga dia menjurus kepada kadar terhad kepada golongan-golongan belia untuk melakukan aktiviti-aktiviti seharian mereka. Jadi pada saya tidaklah menggelarkannya halangan ataupun kadar terhad kerana dia dengar terlalu negatif. Jadi pada saya gelar dia norma baharu. Jadi pada saya, norma baharu ini tidak sepatutnya dijadikan sebagai satu tiket untuk belia Malaysia tidak menjadi belia yang bertanggungjawab dalam memainkan peranan masing-masing. Jadi Encik Amir, apabila kita katakan tentang memainkan peranan sebagai belia Malaysia, ada banyak cabang. Jadi dekat sini saya akan pecahkan kepada 2 cabang sahaja, iaitu secara indirectly ataupun secara direct. Jadi first saya akan cakap tentang sumbangan secara directly, which is the first example is that pelajar-pelajar perubatan dapat membantu sektor-sektor perubatan dan sektor-sektor perubatan, dan selain daripada itu mereka juga boleh melibatkan diri dalam badan-badan yang bernaung bawah badan yang bukan kerajaan, NGO ataupun sumbangan persendirian. Jadi saya nak tekankan di sini, sumbangan persendirian dia ada banyak jenis, banyak beza. Jadi saya nak citekan contoh. Sebagai contoh, rakan seperjuangan saya di UiTM, dia dan rakan seperjuangan saya yang lain telah membantu untuk memberi makanan kepada rakan-rakan saya yang terkandas waktu PKP sebelum ini. Mereka berkolaborasi dengan pihak-pihak fakulti, dan pada saya inilah inisiatif yang telah saya katakan tadi, yang rakan saya dan tim dia berjaya untuk memainkan peranan mereka sebagai belia yang jitu di Malaysia. Jadi selain daripada itu, ramai juga golongan belia di Malaysia yang menyertai barisan hadapan dalam membasmi ataupun mengatasi COVID-19 ini. Mereka telah menyertai KKM, Angkatan Tentera Malaysia, PDRM dan sebagainya. Jadi bukan setakat itu, sejumlah golongan belia Malaysia juga telah menyertai inisiatif proaktif KBS, which is KBS stands for Kementerian Belia dan Sukan. Jadi inisiatif ini dia bukan sahaja memberi bantuan kepada para barisan hadapan, tetapi mereka juga memberi bantuan kepada golongan-golongan yang memerlukan seperti golongan gelandangan dan sebagainya. Jadi selain daripada golongan gelandangan, mereka juga telah membantu rider-rider gig economy seperti GrabFood, Foodpanda dan sebagainya. Di sini saya nak tekankan, golongan gelandangan juga mereka dah tolong tadi kan. Jadi yang saya nak tekankan yang golongan terpinggir juga perlu diberikan perhatian dalam situasi yang genting ni lah. Jadi apa-apa yang telah saya nyatakan tadi adalah bantuan yang telah diberikan secara direct lah. So saya ingin tekankan kalau kita semua tak mampu untuk memberi bantuan direct sebegitu ataupun sumbangan, kita juga dapat memberi sumbangan secara indirect. Sejujurnya saya cakap saya pun tak mampu nak bagi bantuan direct sebegitu. Jadi apa yang kita boleh buat adalah memberi bantuan secara indirect, iaitu semuanya di hujung jari anda, which is using the power of social media. Jadi pada saya, modus operandi ini telah pun berjaya di PKP sebelum ini kerana our Prime Minister pun acknowledge benda ni. So dia acknowledge benda ni by saying that para pemimpin belia, agamawan muda dan artis belia yang berpengaruh di media sosial turut memberi sokongan dengan kempen stay at home, duduk rumah dan kekal tenang sebagai usaha dalam memberi kesedaran kepada rakyat Malaysia terhadap kepentingan untuk menjayakan usaha Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan PKPB. Anda semua adalah wira yang tak didendang. Ini adalah kata-katanya sempena menyambut Hari Belia 2020. Jadi sebenarnya Amir, PKP sebelum ini lagi para belia telah pun melaksanakan peranan mereka sebagai belia yang jitu di Malaysia dan mereka juga telah pun terlibat dalam sektor kesihatan, keselamatan, kebersihan, kesukarelawan, kemasyarakatan dan sebagainya. Jadi saya rasa pada pendapat saya tidak mustahil untuk mereka akan terus memainkan peranan sebagai warga Malaysia yang akan terus menyerlah. Itu saja daripada saya, Amir. Thank you.
Baik, terima kasih banyak saudari Umaira. Jadi sebenarnya banyak cara yang boleh belia kita beri tumpuan untuk membantu dalam isu ini. So the youths must continue to play their role in making sure that we can together fulfill the common ambition. Baik, kita kembali kepada saudari Miss Devi. Now, it is not something impossible for the total PKP or MCO to be enforced once again. You know, given the circumstances that we have today, we have been recently informed that the PKPB will be enforced on 14th of October 2020. So, according to your opinion, what will happen actually, socially, economically, and politically, if the total PKP were to be once again enforced in our country?
Okay, this is a rather intriguing question. It's very interesting. I would like to start with politics. So the recent wave was escalated due to the recent election. So that being said, the current government is not really at a good state. They are facing a lot of backlash from the Malaysians themselves. And so with the upcoming PKP, I don't think so it will be a good state for the government because some of them are really suffering, are really struggling to get back their normal life, and then we are hit by another PKP. So economically, we have it has been horrendous. I mean, like there's been a lot of people closing their stalls, closing their business, quitting job. It's not really a good scenario. We have seen like news saying that employees who are earning 5 to 6 figures are now doing part-time grab food just to sustain their living. Like we have been living a normal life, and people who have been earning a lot, definitely they would have an exclusive lifestyle. So when we are hit something by this, definitely it's hard to balance our life back to that. And the people who would be hit the most are small stall owners and also small enterprises. And especially, you know, Malaysia is very famous for our night market, Pasar Malam. So these people are really living based on their day-to-day basis. So when they have to close their stall for like over a week or even month, it's going to be hard for them to find for earning and things like that, because usually we don't really have much savings. And so this second PKB is like having two tsunami at once. We are still in the recovery process and we have not recovered yet completely, but we are hit by another PKP. So it's going to be really tough for these people. And socially, I see a lot of positive impact. First thing, we are all digital savvy right now. We are really good with Zoom, Google Meet, WebEx. I mean, before this, I'm not really familiar with this kind of apps, and right now I can really do it well. And family bond is stronger because usually it's hard to gather all the family members at once because we all have different commitment levels. So this MCO really gave us this opportunity to really bond with our family. Like I had like family time, like games at night or even movie night. So it was really a fun period of time with the family, and we really learned to value our loved ones and also value life, make the most of our living every day. And the best part of all this is the unity that we showed. During our last MCO, we could really see the unity among Malaysians. We are known for our multiracial, our diversity, and we could see that people were helping each other. We could see that Indians, they were distributing rasam. You know, the rasam is an Indian soup which is good for health, and they were distributing it to everyone for free. And we could see students helping the frontliners, and we could also see the companies giving out household items for the needy and things like that. So seeing so much of positivity and such negativity really motivates us and help us to fight this evil. So that is my view on these three aspects.
Thank you so much, Miss Devi, for that opinion and insight of yours. Yes, obviously there'll be impacts if PKP, the total PKP, were to be once again enforced. And I think we wouldn't want to go through that phase. We wouldn't want to go through that process again. But Mr. Chia Jing, saudara, saya nak bertanya kepada saudara, apakah pula kesan jika PKP tidak dilaksanakan? Adakah akan timbulkan isu ataupun masalah kepada negara kita?
Ya, terima kasih kepada Amil. Sebagaimana yang kita tahu, PKP dikenali sebagai Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan ataupun Inggeris dikenali sebagai Movement Control Order. Kita boleh tengok kesan ini dari dua pandangan, iaitu kesan baik dan kesan buruk. Dari pandangan kesan baik, kita boleh nampak jika PKP tidak dilaksanakan semula, ekonomi negara akan meningkat. Sebagaimana yang kita tahu, lebih banyak aktiviti manusia dijalankan sehari, lebih tinggi daya pengeluaran manusia, dan ini akan membawa kepada peningkatan ekonomi negara kita. Menurut kata Perdana Menteri kita, Tan Sri Muhyiddin, beliau telah mengatakan jika negara kita melaksanakan PKP, negara kita akan rugi sebanyak 2.4 bilion sehari. Dan manakala jika negara kita melaksanakan PKP selama sebulan, negara kita akan hilang sebanyak 98 bilion. Oleh itu, jika PKP tidak dilaksanakan, kerugian negara tentulah akan berkurang dan majikan mendapat pendapatannya. Ini akan mengurangkan bilangan perniagaan gulung tikar dan banyak pekerja tidak akan hilang pekerjaannya. Jika berterusan aktiviti ekonomi, bermakna sumber pendapatan negara turut akan meningkat. Sebaliknya, kesan buruk jika PKP tidak dilaksanakan, iaitu kes jangkitan COVID-19 akan meningkat. Hal ini disebabkan kebanyakan aktiviti kita perlu berinteraksi dengan orang lain. Sebagaimana yang kita tahu, lebih banyak kita berinteraksi dengan orang lain, kebarangkalian menjangkiti COVID-19 akan meningkat. Kita boleh memerhati jika PKP tidak dilaksanakan, kes jangkitan COVID-19 akan meningkat dari 2 angka hingga ke 3 angka. Sebagai contoh, kita pergi ke tempat kerja ataupun sekolah, kita perlu berinteraksi dengan orang lain kan? Kalau tempat yang hendak kita pergi adalah tempat tertutup dan tempat sesat, manakala penjarakan sosial susah dijalankan dan kebarangkalian untuk menjangkiti COVID-19 akan menjadi lebih tinggi. Sekarang saya nak summary dalam English. The effect if movement control order not re-implement, this will have two effects, which is the good effect and the bad effect. From the side of good effect, it will bring to an economic improvement. This because the economic activities can continue as usual, then the income of the country will be increased as well, and the productivity of country will increase too. This will boost the country economies. Besides that, the bad effect is the MCO not re-implement, which is the confirmed case of COVID-19 will be increased because most of our activity require contact and interact with other people. This will cause the social distancing is difficult to implement when we contact and interact with other people. The possibility of getting COVID-19 will be increased too. Thank you.
Baik, terima kasih saudara Chia Jing, Mr. Chia Jing. Yes, I agree with you. There are two sides of a coin. There are pros and cons if PKP were to be enforced and if PKP were not be enforced. So I agree with you. Thank you so much for your opinion. Baik, kita pergi kepada saudari Salama, maafkan saya. Baik, saudari Salama, I believe you are a law student, right? Just like I am. So I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of balancing the conflicting interests. So let's talk about the interests of health and economy. So do you think these two interests conflict in each other? And if your answer is yes, then how do we actually balance these two interests?
Okay, this question here, Encik Ame, can actually be approached either globally or nationally. Hence, I will try to elaborate it as in general before getting into detail my point of view on this. So as we can know, guys, health is essential. Everyone is waiting for the vaccine of COVID-19 in order for the world to stand back on its feet without having to worry much on this disease. As of October 11, 2020 itself, 1.07 million deaths has been confirmed officially based on our worldindata.org. In Malaysia itself, as of 12 October, 159 deaths being reported, showing an increased number and increased cases too, especially in Sabah and Pulau Pinang. And of course, this new announcement made by our Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Ismail Yaakob on PKPB in Selangor, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya, starting from 14th October to 27 October 2020, showing a serious big wave that we are facing currently, guys. So our healthcare facilities and the frontliners are struggling their very best to provide treatment in combating COVID-19 alongside with other diseases. This infection has not only becoming a public health concern, but also affected the global economically. Some of the countries even, for example, in United States, despite their own President Donald Trump and his First Lady Melania Trump was infected, tested as positive, yet still insisting on not having a lockdown as this will bring disruption to their economy, showing they care more on their economic performance rather than the health performance of their whole citizens. This can be seen as in Utusan, dated 10 October 2020, where the data shows 7.3 million US citizens has been infected and more than 200,000 deaths were recorded. Yeah. Meanwhile, we can see in China, when they first being hit by COVID-19, they decided to have a lockdown while still having a tight procedure on shipping and online services across the world. Being one of the biggest players in the industry, they still prioritize the health of the people while trying to cope economically. Hence, their consistency in controlling the health and the economy sector throughout the year set an example towards other countries. These few days in Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen, the citizens are enraged when they found out on this new omnibus law by the government in Indonesia. Strikes and protests are actively being done despite COVID-19 is still on rage. The new law is being criticized by their citizens to harm their workers and environment. But on the other hand, the government says the change are needed. It is necessary to help its economy, which has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. In a cato.org website, analysis being made by economists calculating the value of lives saved against the GDP loss. Can you even imagine our life being equates to money? As these interests clearly conflicting with each other, the important steps that we should take precaution is first look on the policymakers' options in trying to decrease the number of cases while maintaining the economical sector of the country. Second, research Research and more research need to be done on how effective are other countries that manage to contain the small cases and preventing the spike of COVID-19 cases in their country, while its economy is still on the run. And thirdly, is to measure and educate the public on our economy sector in the long run. Tell them what to expect and be prepared physically, mentally, and especially financially, while having platforms for the people to always learn and to cope inside the society itself. In my opinion, despite both of these interests are in conflict with each other, we must first prioritize our health while trying our very best to boost the economic sector. This is because if we cannot control this disease in our society, later more money and resources are needed to be spent on the facilities and the manpower to prevent it from getting worse. If we freeze, if we pause the economic sector first for a while and take precautions as what our Malaysian government and the Ministry of Health did back then when we first had our first MCO, this outbreak, inshallah, can be contained while we slowly trying to get back on the economic sector. Last but not least, I want to stress that good health cannot be bought with money. I now pass the floor back to our moderator.
Thank you so much, Saudari Salama. A very complete answer. I love the answer. Yes, I believe our government is working tirelessly in making sure that this pandemic is under control. And I think this is a brick that should not only be burdened on the shoulders of the government. We should all share the responsibility. We should all play our part in making sure that we can achieve the common good. Baik, kita pergi kepada Saudari Umaira. Ms. Umaira, I'm sure the students, especially all of us here, have experienced open and distance learning, ODL. Some of us like it, some of us don't like it. So do you think it will impact the students if ODL were to be once again carried out due to the PKP? And what are the impacts actually that we will suffer or we will experience? And if there are impacts, negative impacts, what can we, the students, do in making sure that we are prepared for the second wave?
Hi, Amir. Thank you for the question. So, honestly, my answer is easy, Amir. For those who managed to overcome the stress last semester for going through ODL, I mean, congratulations. You definitely nailed it. If you can did it then, you can definitely do it again now. But for those who failed to adapt with online classes, or for those who are new to ODL, you might face or will face a few challenges and obstacles. But in my opinion, the way you react to that challenges and obstacles actually define who you are as a person. Because if you ask me, in my opinion, I would take that as a challenge and learn something from it, because it is not easy. I'm not here to tell you it's easy, because it's not. It's not easy. You're going to have to take time to adapt to it, but eventually it's going to be okay, and all you have to do is to be kind to yourself, to your lecturers and to your tutors as well. So Amir, actually I have a few tips and techniques for those of you, including myself, if you guys want to ace ODL next semester, I mean this semester lah. Apart from that, these tips and techniques does not only apply on ODL, it also applies in real life hacks as well. So these tips are also the reason why I managed to ace last semester, Alhamdulillah, my rezeki, because I actually followed these tips and techniques that I'm about to give to you, and it works, trust me. First and foremost, the vital technique is that you should get enough sleep. Yes, managing stress begins with this simple step, trust me. This is crucial because not only it will contribute to a productive online learning, it will also help you to manage your level of stress. So, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, National Sleep Foundation actually recommends 7 to 9 hours of sleep for each of us. So For me, I would just find the right time and stick to it. And then next, you have to be really, really organized and manage your time well. So since most of you will be at home during ODL, your focus wouldn't be on studies only, right? It will also be on other commitments as well, such as for your family, for your siblings and parents, for your own personal time, for your friends. So you have other commitments as well. So for me, it is possible for you to ease even though you have that much commitments, because all you have to do is be organized, plan your assignments according to their due dates and manage your time well. By doing so, then only you will have ample time, not only for your studies, but for other commitments as well, without having to stress yourself out. So as for me, I can consider myself as someone with other commitments as well, because we have our family problems and all, but never mind, rest assured, it's all working out after I've followed all these tips. And also get help if you need it. I mean, there's nothing wrong on getting help. When you're stressed out, you need professionals to help you feel better mentally and physically. So apart from that, a few universities actually had this initiative before, so they are equipped with advisors, coaches and counselors that can help you maintain your level of stress. Or yeah, from coping mechanisms to stress management worksheets, they have every tool you need in order for you to manage your stress. And then for your information, actually UITM's counseling department actually made this initiative before during PKP on March. They made this initiative and it is very noble of UITM to do so. Thank you very much, UITM. I really appreciate that gesture, because during that time, all the students have to do is to reach out to them, because they were ready to lend a helping hand or ears to listen whenever we have problems. So yeah, UITM's counseling department is a good example, actually. So to me, that's about it. For those who passed last semester with flying colors, congratulations. Maintain your strategy and strength. But for those who failed to perform last semester, or for those who are new to ODL for the upcoming semesters, rest assured, you just have to come up with a new strategy, new planning, and move forward. Losing is part of winning, actually. So a wise man once told me, your shortcomings, your problems, your failures does not define you as a person, actually, but the way you react to it does. That's all from me, Amir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saudari Umaira, Miss Umaira. I'm inspired by your answers. Yes, we have to adapt to the current situation. We have to try our best to comply and adapt to what we have right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have nearly come to an end of our online forum. So therefore, I would like to invite the panelists to provide some hope and wisdom for the future. So Ms. Devi, let's start with you. Okay, let's proceed with Mr. Chia Jing. Give us some hope and wisdom. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Amils. Yeah, from my hopes, I hope that this pandemic can pass quickly and the patient who's suffering from COVID-19 will recover as soon as possible. Next, I also hope that those people who get affected by this pandemic will recover as soon as possible too. Lastly, I hope that everyone will practice 3W in their daily life, which is always wash the hand with soap, always wear a mask when going out, and always want that to keep social distancing with other people. Because we have the responsible to reduce the cases of COVID-19 in our country. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amel.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chia Jing. Right, let's proceed with Ms. Davy.
So my hopes would be, first thing, hopefully COVID gets cured soon. And for those who are lacking self-awareness, I hope they really, really take this issue seriously and please follow the SOPs so that we can fight this evil and get over it soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Short and sweet. Baiklah, Saudari Salama. Saudari Salama, the floor is yours.
Alright, okay. Besar harapan saya ya agar semua rakyat Malaysia mengguna pakai hashtag kita jaga kita dan betul-betul mempraktikkan apa yang ayat tu kata. It is a short but a very meaningful word. Walau apa situasi sekalipun kita berada sekarang, ia bukanlah masa untuk kita menuding jari dan menyalahkan mana-mana pihak. Sebab sebagai individu, tidak kira rakyat atau pemimpin politik, perlu memastikan kawalan Kediri diutamakan di samping menjaga kesejahteraan sejagat dalam kehidupan kita menerusi norma baharu. Hakikatnya, rakyat memerlukan segala bantuan yang ada. Kemelut politik perlu diketepikan dan isu tentang rakyat perlu lebih diambil berat. Kehidupan semua telah terjejas banyak. Ekoran PKP, PKPP, and also this PKBB. I hope that everyone takes a very good care of their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual health. Please have faith and trust that when all is tired and bleak, there is always hope.
Thank you so much, Ms. Salama. Ms. Umaira.
Can I add to what Salama just said?
Yes, please.
Pada saya, hashtag kita jaga kita tu sekarang ni nampaknya dia punya keberkesanannya dah makin pudar. Jadi saya nak seru semua orang tolong ambil peduli. Saya ulang, tolong ambil peduli kerana kalau gelombang ini terjadi semula, kesan terhadap ekonomi dan sara hidup kita terjejas. And also, we do not want to make the same mistake as other government does. We have to take it serious, act fast, manage it well, especially on the part of government sebenarnya. Because if COVID-19 is just a flu, we wouldn't lose 1,080,000 lives in just about 8 months, which is sebenarnya it is such a short period of time. So please take it serious, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Umaira. Thank you to all the panelists. We have come to the end of our session. It has been a wonderful evening. I thank the audience for being with us today for about 1.5 hours. So thank you so much. I would like to share this one quote with everyone. The darkest hour of the night comes just before the dawn. All of these unwanted catastrophic events will end soon. Kita perlu berdoa dan berusaha untuk mengatasinya bersama, insyaAllah. Baik, terima kasih. Stay safe everyone. Take care. Iman, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much to all our panelists for their very insightful discussion earlier. It was indeed a very informative speech, and we definitely have gained a lot from them, especially from their view of point in with this whole pandemic issue. I would like to also remind you guys with what Chia-Jing said, remember to wash your hands, keep wearing face masks, and also practice social distancing. With that being said, our event for this evening has come to an end. I'd like to thank everyone who has joined us today, and we hope that you had a pleasant evening. With that, I bid very good evening, good night to everyone. Assalamualaikum. Thank you. Bye.
All right, we're off. We are officially done. Congratulations, everyone. That was a really great forum.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
I think if we continue more, I think it's better if all of us have landscape.
Thank you, Myris.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Myris.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Myris, like
Thank you, Myris.
since you are already here, right? For the next, if we were to plan for